Hey guys, it's Ray. You know, turning this tiny minivan into a camper has been really exciting, but storage has been a real challenge, so coming up with clever ways to store things can make or break the experience. I've spent countless hours refining my setup, and I'm here to share my best storage hacks, from maximizing space under the bed to making use of rooftop and hitch-mounted cargo options. If you're looking for clever ways to turn your car, your van, or your SUV into a storage-savvy camper, this video is for you. Buckle up. Okay, imagine we just pulled into camp and we're going to get set up. Yeah, we're in this parking lot, but it's the same concept. Anyway, I'm going to just show you where everything is in here. Then we'll actually set it up in real time for camp. But anyway, just wanted to show you, I use everything for storage, from the side pockets. I got some handy wipes. In the door pockets, I got easier straps to go to help hold down my roof thing. I got a lighter, some extra pillowcases. This is an extra fire extinguisher, some extra baggies, some paper bags, and this is a big-ass catch-all place here. I got a couple of bins here. I keep closing both of these little plastic bins, and then on the floorboard down there, there are 2 3-gallon water jugs underneath. You can kind of see back there, but they're back there. And then I also have a sleeping bag shoved in here, 2 sets of sheets, an extra pee bottle. I can never have enough of those. I got too many of those. But then I got, this is for window screens that I would set up over the windows. Got a little portable Bluetooth player. And these are little magnets that help hold on the screens. Got more straps for that. And then I have more room in here where I shove stuff. Up here, I've got, just, this is nothing, this is my baseball cap and some stuff for laundry, sheets, and some Kleenex. And this is kind of just a catch-all thing when I'm driving. I've got my little temperature sensor that I set up outside, some soap and another strap. Can never have enough of those. And bungee cord, some silverware, and just, this is kind of like junk, my junk area up here. Then over here, we'll just peek in. We're not setting up yet, but when you peek in, everything is stored for safety. So down here, this is a shelf we're going to set up later, and right now I'm using it. It is bungeed in to the back of the sofa bed setup, but it allows me to safely strap in things like my compost bin, my sink, my stove, and then you look around there, that's my Starlink Mini. We'll set that up in a little bit. But anyway, this is how it is in drive mode. Everything's kind of strapped down and folded down just to keep it kind of safe while I'm driving, so things aren't really flying around. Now I'm going to walk around the back, show you what I got going on here. Of course, I have this, lucky enough to have this huge stowaway cargo carrier that sits on my hatch, and I'm going to show you what's in here. So first, let me move a little bit. I'm going to take this chair out of here so we can get a better look. And then you look down in here to see what all I carry. I've got 2 5-gallon buckets. This one I carry tools in. Show it to you. It's just a bunch of my little tools in there. And this one I just kind of carry extra paper goods, like what was that? Paper towels. No, that's toilet paper, Kleenex, and I have extra bags for the trash can for the waste in there. I've got an outdoor rug, a little extra tarp. This is a propane, well, dual fuel, but I use it propane generator. This is a folding toilet that I can set up outside, little extra baggies. Then I'm also going to use this because we're going to set up my solar and my Starlink mini dish. So I take this out and I'll put this down over here. I'll set that ladder up over there. We'll get to that in a minute. Now I'm going to close this back down and I'm going to open this up. So one of the first things I do, I come over here. There's a little safety latch. I spin this thing. That's a little bolt that kind of holds it in. And then this yellow, no, it's not yellow, it's orange. This little orange handle I pull up and it comes open. Now I swing it open. It's pretty heavy. Got that generator in there. That's about 48 pounds. Now, one thing I added though, if you look down here, I've got a stabilizer jack. So here's a closer look at that stabilizer jack. I paid a professional welder to weld this onto the bottom of that. And if you can come up here, you can see how it makes this thing sit level. It takes the weight off of the hitch and off of this little whole contraption, because that's a lot of weight in there. And anyway, now let's look in the back here. I'll show you how this is set up when I'm driving. I have the cushions in here. I've got my bins right here, more clothes in both of these. And we're going to talk more about this storage in a minute. But if we walk around back to the front, I want to show you on the driver's side here. This is the stuff I have stored in here. I have like an umbrella, an extra fire extinguisher. This is all car stuff. This is the jumper thing, like a little extra battery to jump your car battery, your starter battery. This is a little air pump, works great on bike tires, inflatables, anything. And this is a code reader. This is a 2006 Mazda. It's older, so I get engine lights sometimes. And this, you plug it into the OBD reader and you get a little error code. Now I'm going to show you what I got going on in here. This front seat Just normal. Got a little place to put my drinks, and I keep an extra water bottle over here. But on this side, I have a basket and 3 other little baskets. Thank you, Dollar Tree. And I keep some hand sanitizer, a pen, some extra little tissues and things. And I got a little wrench that I'm going to use here in a second to set up Starlink. But and I have a couple other things stored back there. I have my trash can. This is kind of cool. Can be accessed from both sides. We'll see that in a minute. But in the trash can, I have my trash. But I also keep 2 little cups. One cup, this has got some change in it for the tollway or for laundry. And then I have a top cup here where I keep a little toothbrush, floss, and some toothpaste. And that's to brush my teeth up front. If I'm driving, traveling, I don't have to get in the back and try to get out my other toothbrush and all that stuff. Then down under here, I have more stuff. Like I said, you never have enough pee bottles, okay? Tell me in the comments. That's weird. Anyway, but if you've been doing this, you know. Then I also have a little paper towel. This right here, I'm sorry, this is a toilet paper holder. It's waterproof, and that hangs in the shower tent outside, a privacy tent. And then I have another blanket. And this is a bag full of a bunch of HEB bags, which happen to line pretty quick. In the back one, I like to put a plastic liner in there. Not on this one. Now I'm going to show you this side. I'm basically ready. Now that we've done this, I'm ready to set up for camp, okay? And so when I set up, one of the first things I do is I got to get my Starlink out of the way because we're about to move this countertop. So the Starlink Mini here, I made this mount to hold it. It is secure. It rides in here. Nothing happens. But I can just wrestle this thing out. Oh, bear with me. Okay. Now I'm going to take this out and put it on the ground there. And then I come back to that when I'm ready to set it up. But this little mount comes out too. Anyway, a little wood thing, a little wood slot I made just to hold that securely in the back of that countertop. So now I'm going to come up front and set up here for camp. And so what I do to make space is I got to move this front seat forward. So I take off the headrest, throw it on the ground. Then I lean my seat forward. And then I lean this seat all the way forward. And I drop my little steering wheel down all the way like that. Now I'm going to reach in here. This is my solar prop rod. We're going to use that in a minute. Anyway, I'll come back in here. I don't know if you can hear, but we got some little gulls making some noise out here in the park. But anyway, so now I just reach in here and lift up my countertop. I grab my toilet box seat and I lean it forward. I just pulled it forward, rest the countertop back down, and now I lean it over. And then it folds down flat, and this side is set up. We're ready to go to the other side and set up the inside. So now I just come around to this side, and you can see this is where everything is kind of securely strapped in. But on my sink here, I keep this folded down. That's the backsplash. But for safety, because that's such a sharp edge, when that's up, that's right at my head, the same height as my head, and I could have an accident. So I have made it to where I can fold it down. But that just snaps up. This is really cool. Look at that. No coffee, no worky. My cousin made that. She's awesome. Okay, so anyway, so I take the sink, and this is just a mixing bowl sink that I made. If y'all see my other videos, show you how I made that. And I keep the faucet in here. So then you just swing this little mount out, and I run the hose down through here, slide it on, slide that into position, and then I take the hose over here, and then there's a quick connect that I hook it up to on that side. But then over here, I start unstrapping these things, okay? This is a compost bin for the toilet, and it has some material in it, some cover material, a little scoop, and some extra bags. That slides in right there and goes up front like that. Then I can get to the sink. There's 2 places. Let me get that. Come on. It's in there kind of tight. The stove, I mean, that's it. So now the stove can go right there. And now I'm able to unhook. The last thing holds the shelf, which is also a camper van table. Watch my other videos, shameless plug. Anyway, so how I built this thing. So now this comes out, and this is so versatile. This is a table. It hooks on 2 different sides, on both sides of the camper. It goes out. It's amazing. Anyway, spin it around. It goes right into here into the back of the front seats like this. You smash it down. Now you got storage there. Right? Let me show you one other thing in here. This sofa bed has storage underneath. So I have a couple of long, well, they're 4 baskets that I've used zip ties together. I don't know if you can see these zip ties here, but it's a way to get into a really deep spot without a long shelf or anything. It's just 2 baskets. And this normally would have food and dry, if I were camping, I've had food and chips and, just dry food stuff in here. Right now I've got extra butane for my other stove, actually. Some wipes, some fibercloths, and then those are actually some lights for something else. But anyway, now I'm just going to hop inside here And there's all kinds of storage in here. I'm just going to kind of take you around and show you what I see. But over here, I have vertical storage that I added, and I'll talk more about the other sides of it in a minute. But right here on the edges, you can see that this is a little a bike water holder, but I repurposed it and used it to mount my little fire extinguisher. And then I put some extra tape around here because it was kind of loose. And then I have a hook here, and I hold just some baseball caps. And then down there is a dustpan and a little bitty broom on that side. And then here, I actually consider my sink storage because this is a sink box, but for you, it could be any kind of storage, a box or whatever. But also a really cool thing about this box is that it's movable. And if you look down here on the floor, you'll see that it is mounted. It's strapped in for safety. It does not move. These little buckle cam locks come undone, and then I can move it back all the way to here, and it snaps in here, and I'm able to move the front seat all the way back when I have the passenger. But another reason that's important to be able to move stuff around is it gives me access to this. I couldn't, go over this because this is how on a lot of these minivans, the spare tire is right underneath on this side, and that is the actual access to be able to unscrew and lower the spare tire. And if you had a Dodge Caravan, they have stow and go seating in here, and you wouldn't want to block that. But if you had something like this sink box that moved, you could move it out of the way when you camped, move the seat forward, then you could still get in your stow and go seat, and you have all this extra ability. But so another thing is, I consider this vertical storage. I built a spice rack on the wall rather than, bottles in little baskets or whatever. So I built this little inner box, and it holds some condiment bottles and stuff. And I've got some dry rub, some vinegar and some cinnamon, and then other spices. But I made it's also on magnets. Everything is magnetic in this thing. And so let me just pull it out. So this rack comes out, and you can see the storage. This is my fresh water and my gray water for the sink. And over here, these are just freezer bins that you get anywhere, like Walmart. I think these were Amazon, but I use them as drawers. And normally, if I were camping, this would be coffee stuff up here. I have a little kind of a dripper thing that I put in there. And then there's another drawer. And so and then this is storage, for trash cans. And then that other trash can you saw, it tie wraps onto this one, and they stay connected. And so I can get to both of them from either side. And then there's just extra storage there for anything, what is that, wax paper, foil, stuff like that. Then up here, of course, a countertop is storage, right? So during the day, normally I would have my air fryer, and that would be up here right now. And then I have my stove here. And then when it's time for night, that shelf that you saw that was over here, it's also a table, but it's now a shelf. I've put it up, and it rests on top of those front seats because I needed storage up front, and you don't have any of that. And especially this minivan is so small. But at night, I then take my stove and I put it up here. And then you're going to see me do the countertop. I made the countertop so that I could get it out of the way. It's got a piano hinge here, and there's a second one back there. So it folds out of the way. Got a couple of magnets there that keep it from coming undone. I lean it up. That little fan goes out of the way. And all of this is now, look at all this space I've got now, feet and everything. But also this right here, this could be storage of any kind. I happen to have a little small custom toilet that I put in here. And this has a wood box top on it to be able to support this countertop. That's the only reason there's wood on top of this, but to have enough weight to support that. But at night, for emergencies, I want to use that toilet. So I take the lid off of this thing, and it goes up on that shelf, slides all the way forward, big deep dash. Anyway, so now you have access to your toilet in here and all this extra storage space. And then over here, I want to show you down here, another thing that's hidden. I'm hiding a lot of stuff in here, sort of. Anyway, but down here, I've got another box in here, and I put a little door on it on a hinge. And this could be any kind of storage. I have chosen to put a microwave in here because I am ridiculous and I got all the stuff I don't need. I'm just kidding, man. I got a lot of power. We'll see that in a minute. But anyway, and I welded a handle onto here. It's pretty easy. I cold weld a little product called JB Weld, and I put wheels on the bottom. So this thing just slides out, and then you look down in here. Well, I don't know if you can see in here. I'm going to pull this up, but that box is empty back there. That's a lot of storage space up in that empty box. I just happen to have a microwave in there. You could store anything you want inside that thing. Okay, now I'm going to put this back in. Run that up. And now I'm going to talk about some of the side storage and everything. So I chose to I call it vertical side storage, but it was wasted space over here. And I'm going to tell you, first we'll talk about what's in there, then I'll tell you kind of how I made it. But up in here, I've got a cutting board, which is also while I'm driving, this comes out, of course, when I'm cooking, I take it out, but when I'm driving, I leave it in there because these books like to fly around and shift around. I got some little books, a little tiny library thing there. Then I also have another basket with more cooking junk in there. And this is different stuff depending on where I'm going, how long I'm going to be out and all that. Some toilet paper, another little book. In the back here, you probably can't see it. This is a little plastic thing with some bungees. But here's another one of those bicycle water holders. And it'll hold any kind of bottle. So here I just have a plastic cup with some silicone utensils, cooking utensils. But on sides, and then down here, I'm sorry, yeah, look down in here. Look at the pots and pans. We got a strainer, a little handle for that pot thing. Those are really cool. Then over here, I actually have some canned goods down here, but this will hold 19 canned goods between 2 levels. Up here, right now, I just have a dust buster strapped in there, but I have this paracord, shock cord stuff in here, and that keeps the cans in and from sliding around. There's another layer of it right there. But this storage could be used for anything. And this was all dead space not used before I decided, wow, man, I need more storage. And so I came around here and all I did was this actually, it's interesting. This piece of wood right here is not even attached to this. Everything is wedged in so it doesn't move for safety. But this bottom bar goes across here, board. And then on top of it, I have a very thin piece. This is like 1/8 inch or maybe a quarter birch plywood. And then there's another piece that goes that way. And it's very lightweight. Both of these, this whole thing together is 15 pounds. But this is, the edges they're like lips. They're higher up so that anything you put in there doesn't come out. If it's going to come out, you got to bungee it or keep it in somehow. There's a little lip here. And for the most part, things don't fly out. But that's why I have that little cutting board that slides in there and I put a little stopper. That is a stopper to keep it from sliding forward. And you just learn things as you're driving. Stuff flies forward. This little guy right here is the stopper. Yeah, a little rubber thing right there. And anyway, but I also want to talk about when you put this little vertical board up there and everything, and it's all, it's in there really tight. The way it's secured is back here. You probably can't see it. I can show you when we get to the back, but it's got a tie wrap to seatbelt holders, your seatbelt holders. And then up here, this whole thing, this wood thing, this wood piece up here is also attached to it, and it is tie wrapped to this handle that is over this seat that normally would be the seat here. So everything is really tight. But speaking of storage, things that mount to the ceiling, things that mount to the side, that's all a storage opportunity when you add flat boards and stuff. So this thing, my paper towels are mounted to this. Where would they be if I didn't have them? They'd be junking up something. I have a fire alarm mounted here. I have a puck light mounted here. I've got an extra fan mounted here. Then up here with this little piece of wood, right? I have my other fan mounted here. This is an amazing fan, by the way. 4.5 watts. This thing does, it turns it. Oh my God, it's amazing. But also I have a little, another light that goes over the stove. This is a removable, rechargeable LED light. This is a little travel router. And while we're here, I'm going to show you something kind of cool. The way I mount all this stuff, this is a little piece of birch plywood that it's not mounted, never comes out or anything. And then I got to rewire that. But anyway, there's some wiring hidden back there. It's a little travel router, but you can take little pieces of wood like this and just wedge them into your seat handle, and now you got a place to mount a light or something, whatever. Getting kind of excited. That's actually really kind of cool. But anyway, so that's basically everything that's on the side storage over here. Now I'm going to swing around. I'm going to show you this side storage over here. So on this side, we already talked about the little fire extinguisher. And I also have a place. This is for a remote for my little streamer, my Roku streaming TV thing. And then I have headphones, noise canceling headphones for when it's loud. And those hang right here. Then I've got a little temperature sensor so I can tell how hot or cold it is. This is a little battery charger down here for rechargeable batteries. I use these little lithium rechargeables in all the puck lights and everything. And then again, with that theme of the side storage, another puck light goes right here. My CPAP machine, when I'm camping, it snaps in right here. I have a travel one. It's really small. Plug it in like that. And then I keep the hose. There's actually a extra hose stuck in back there. We'll look at that on the back side of it. But more on this side up here. This is usually food storage. Right now I've got spices, but I like to keep pistachios in here, some kind of snacks in these things. But to keep this stuff from coming out, there is a little lip, but these are called bungee ball straps. And they're like 6 inches or whatever, you pull them down. But you can put these things, and that keeps things from bouncing out and kind of holds things in place. A little farther up here, I got a coffee mug. I got some extra silverware sitting up in here. Then down under here, I've got a tissue holder, and I've got down here, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a extra propane bottle for the stove. But I also travel, if I'm actually camping, this is where my little water kettle straps into this. Again, I'm using these little straps everywhere to hold stuff in. Then behind it here, this is a phone charger and a watch charger for me. Then I have a basket. And right now I've just got some extra sterno. That's butane for my smaller stove. This is the propane connection for my big stove, extra batteries, and some other junk in here. But basically, and then this thing, I'll do another video later. This is a DC to DC charger, but I use this. This helps supply my 12-volt power to my fuse box, and I'll show you the main power station in a second when we get out to the back. But that's kind of the situation here. Again, add some side storage like this, and look at all this extra space you get that you just cannot get. If you didn't have this, all of this I'd still have all this junk, but it would be all over the place. So this is probably one of my favorite things that I added, was side storage like this. And it really was not hard. It's just two or three pieces of wood. And you do have to, cut it kind of curved, because everybody's van or car is different. Anyway, let's head out back to the back, and I'm going to show you all the storage. There's like a lot I got going on in the back. So we already looked at everything in my trunk. So now we're going to come around here. in my cargo carrier. So normally this stuff would all stay this way, and I don't actually need access into there most of the time. These are my power stations. But when I do, I just take these out. They're not very heavy, about 10 pounds. No, they're not 10 pounds, a few pounds, I forget. Anyway, and then back here, okay, so I have a minivan, and most minivans have a third row seat. And when you take that out, that's an incredibly deep storage space under there. And one mistake that I see that people do permanent beds or semi-permanent or whatever, I have a folding sofa bed, which is a little bit of a pain, has different cushions, and you have to break it down, and it's a sofa and a bed, and that sounds great. A permanent bed stays down, but when you have a minivan, you want to be able to lift up and get to that storage. And I've seen a lot of people put down a permanent bed or some wood or whatever, and they really can't get to that area. That's not a huge issue for me, because my area, this is all hinged up. It's taken up by all this power, because I have to run air fryers and microwaves and all this other ridiculous stuff, right? I'm aware of that. So, but this right here is a 2,000 watt Blue Eddy power station. And this is a smaller power station that I use for my Starlink mainly, and sometimes as a backup for my CPAP machine. The CPAP is something I absolutely cannot lose power. So if I'm running out of power, I have to have a way to power that. So this is enough for that, but it's a backup. And I have all my little stuff labeled that runs wiring everywhere. But I'm just showing you how big. This is a big 65-pound power station. I still have other room, but I don't want to crowd it in, because you need airflow to get through there. If you're going to put power stuff in the trunk or anything, you need air. And on that topic, for airflow, these holes, if you look here, I've drilled holes in everything. The cushion, every thing everywhere has holes in it, and that saves some weight. But more importantly, air can travel around, and that's good for everything from your cushions to keep them from getting musty or moldy, but also for power units and stuff. So now over here, this is actually I had some camera gear down here, more clothes in the top here, and sometimes I have an electric blanket strap back here, and an extra pair of shoes, because they get kind of dirty, and big running shoes I put back here. I'm going to move this stuff over now, and then show you. Now, normally there would be a cooler up in that part. And if you saw my early videos, I had two. I had a fridge and a freezer. And the problem with the freezer back here was there was no airflow, and my cushions that you just saw were blocked it in. This one was overheating. Then it caused that one to overheat. And then I realized I didn't even have cooling up there for the front one either. So it was just that was a big mistake I made. Design. I have a thing, it's called crashing coolers. It's a video, watch it. But when I finally figured out what the problem was, and so I had to cut that hole there, and I can't have one back here because there's no airflow. So the plus side, I got to add extra storage. So, and this is all about storage. So anyway, another thing, just every little area back here on this side, this is extra stuff for my awning. And then on that side, I'm going to show you over here, this is extra stuff for my CPAP machine. That's an extra cable. And usually I have a bigger mask stuck in there, but it's in my bag. I'm inside now. But then back to this side, I hinged this side. This up here is that microwave box. That's the top up there. It ends right there. So I put a hinge, and then this black tape is on top of the hinges, because I cut this stuff, these hinges, I cut these myself, and I like to tape over them so that there's no sharp edges, and I don't cut stuff, because when you cut stuff yourself, I file it down, but sometimes it's still sharp. That's why you see black tape on anything. It's usually the ends of these hinges. Anywhere I cut it, you're going to see black tape. But okay, so this lifts up, and I don't need this because it's a tight fit, but I put a little latch in here so that this wouldn't fall down, but I don't really need it. But there's tons of storage in here too. So down here on the deep side, this is back here. This is still part of that open third row seat area tub, storage that you have in minivans. This is a 7-gallon water tank that I keep back here, and it goes down here, but then also peek down right in here, and you'll see the actual large water pump, which is right here. I'm gonna touch my finger on it. It's dark. I don't know if you can see it here. Right there, that's the water pump. And then I have the hose going in, extra hose and everything. That's a quick connect. I just want to point that out while we're here. This right here, this box, this I built to hold this quick connect thing that usually goes on RVs. This thing lifts up, and there's a quick connection there on the side where I can just plug right into it and then pop the hose out and have my water. And my on-off switch is right here on the back of that box, and I can turn it on, and that powers the. It's a big water pump. It's a Seaflow, really high-end one. So, but I get a lot of water pressure out of that. And then back there, I have paper towels, Kleenex, toilet paper. Yeah, there's more stuff down there. There's another paper rolls, plenty of stuff for that. And then at one time I also had a power adapter for a previous power station mounted right here. But I have cables routed through everywhere, but everything is tied together and neatly. That's another thing that makes your storage cleaner, is if you don't have wires hanging everywhere. Strap them together and keep them all tight and everything. We'll pull this down. And now let's look at storage on the outside. And of course, if you look up here, you're going to see gearboxes and all this stuff on top of this minivan. I just did another video on the weight of everything. I was a little bit shocked, actually. I had not paid attention when I was doing this, and that's a no-no. But watch that video if you want to know how much all this stuff weighs. But so this setup up here, I have these 2 gearboxes, and then I have a room here. This is originally had another gearbox here, and it was removable, and it would come out, and I still have it. It would lift out, and then that gave me access to get into here, which is that Thule box. But to do any of that, I have to lift my solar panels up. I'm gonna do that right now just to kind of show you what it looks like with it lifted out of the way. But first thing I do is I have these straps that I unhook here. There's 2 of them, and then I go down to the back, and I have 2 straps there too. They're kind of right in here. I'm gonna close this hatch 1 sec. I'll lower that down. Now I can get around here a little better. I have these 2 straps right there. Now I can go over here and I can grab my little bar. I'm just gonna grab my ladder. I'm all over the place here. So I'm gonna grab my little ladder. I can do this without a ladder, but I don't like to. Now I can go up. So now I just lift this guy up. But then I also, it's not windy today, but as a precaution, no matter what, I come back around, I'll show you over here, and I take this at least on one side, the front or the back, and I take this hook and I go back and I hook it down onto this. This is mounted so that the wind, if it comes along, does not take like a sail, lift the solar panel, blow it off. Once that's up, I now have access to get into this Thule roof box, which normally has a suitcase, another one of those black totes with a red top, and then in the back I have a bag with more toilet paper and paper towels and stuff. But what's happened is, when you watch my other video for that, the key is stuck in this thing and I can't even open it. And so I'm very frustrated with this thing right now, and I can't even get into it. But this was a great design. You could get into here, you open it up, and I could get things out and still have the benefit of having that extra roof gearbox, which I would take down and just put out of the way when I would camp. The other reason that I need to have the solar panels up is not just for the sun, but now when that's up, I'm able to get into these boxes. I normally don't need to be in this one. Let's see, I have a water hose, jumper cables, 2 extension cords, and some other stuff in this one, but this is kind of like a gear emergency box. I don't need it. This one is empty, and I use this to put trash in. This is like a pack-out box. You put your waste from your compost toilet or whatever. That would go, or any kind of trash. You smash that down into here, and the smells stay outside, and that's actually kind of airtight almost. And that's the last thing I'll do. I'm going to set up the Starlink, because that's the last thing I would do. I don't always have it. So then I take this, and I do need the ladder for this, but we'll just walk all the way around. And then I have a regular mount here that you just put on your roof for a regular old antenna, but I had these little, let's see if I get this right on the first one. There it is. There. That may be loose enough. There it is. All right, so I lean that up. Then I have a quick connect on this. This does not come with it. So this pole I bought, and this little connection thing is a quick connect. I bought that. Oh, I'm in the sun right now. I don't know if I'm gonna do this right. Spin it around till it drops. There it is. So now it's in, and I can still twist this to the right angle. But anyway, this cable now just has to loosely go over to that other space. I'm going to walk back over to you now. And now I'm going to hook up the other cable to here. Hopefully you can see this. Can't reach up too much more, but there it is. So now I'm plugging in that to that. Both of these have to fit. I can see I'm tall enough right into this little right there. Then you put the top back on. It has rubber gaskets. If you can see back here, hold on a second. You look on this side now, back on the back, there's rubber gaskets right here on the very back, and they push into each other. And when you clamp that down, that's not leaking. It's never leaked. I've had that up there for months. So now Starlink is now hooked up, and I did it really quickly. So here I'm talking, but if I weren't talking, that's 30 seconds.
With all these storage options, my minivan feels spacious, organized, and ready for adventure. Whether you're a weekend warrior or living on the road full time, finding the right storage setup will make your van life or car camping journey so much easier. Hey, if you got anything out of this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it.